Hi, and welcome back to another book review. In this video, I have a haul of 11 children's books, which I read to my 4-month-old baby. And I am going to be walking you through them from my favorite to my least favorite. But as always, there's something great to see in each of these books. And so I'm going to be highlighting those in particular in this video. Starting with my favorite book, While We Wait. And what I like most about this book is that it highlights something that I think a lot of us forget, which is that a lot of life and a lot of happy moments happen while you are waiting. I think a lot of us kind of just assume that waiting is somehow wasted time, but it doesn't have to be. And I think it's a great message to pass on to kids that waiting can be fun, and that there's great things you can do and enjoy in your life while you're waiting. I also just want to show you, look at these spectacular illustrations. Look at the almost like poetic text. There's not too much text on each page, so you get a lot of entertainment for every word that you're reading, just with these great illustrations, page after page. I think you can actually sing this book to your kid if you enjoy doing that. I like to do that because it's supposed to be good for them to learn language, and so that they might be able to have a little bit of musical talent later if you want to try and give your kid music lessons when they get older. Pokko and the Drum is my second favorite book in this collection, and this book is so fun. What do I like about it? I think I really like the character of this little frog. Basically, the book starts out by saying, Pokko's parents bought him a drum. It was a huge mistake. And it shows him like getting a band together and just making a lot of noise. The humor in this book is like funny even for an adult. So that I think was definitely something I appreciated. I haven't seen this TV show, but there's a TV show called Adventure Time, and I guess the author-illustrator worked on that show, the lead designer on the animated series. So I think that for him, this was probably a personal project. He got to kind of do whatever he wanted, but you have to be a talented designer to work on probably one of the top animated kids shows out there. Really fun illustrations, really cute character. Also, just as an Easter egg, there's a moment in this book that I thought was so funny and surprising, and I remember remarking to my partner, this book was definitely written by a man. Like, there's no way a woman would put this in her book. And I just want to throw that out there as an Easter egg. I'm curious if you read it, if you'll spot that moment. And it's just, I think, an approach to maybe parenting, or an approach to what you introduce your kids to at a young age. That's what triggered me to say that. But I think it's funny. I'll just throw that out there as an Easter egg in case you spot that moment. Next one I have is Just What to Do. And this book deals with such an interesting topic. The topic is, what do you do when your friend loses something, when your friend loses someone or something that's important to them, whether that's a pet or a family member. And the message is so important, I think, to be able to share with kids how to deal with loss or grief. And basically, I'll show you an illustration close up. The thing that I thought was a really good message in this story is that everyone deals with grief differently. And so the best thing you can do, really, is try to see what your friend or the person who's lost something or someone needs from you or wants from you, so that you can be the support that they want, because everyone wants something different. And so that's what she learns at the end of this. And this is, I think, one of the final pages in the book where she is consoling her friend who lost her grandma. Really cute story, and such a great topic. Next up, I have Bearplane, and I think in another haul, this should have made it into the top 3 because it was such a cute story. It is basically walking you through what it's like to go to the airport. So we actually have a flight happening today, so I had to pick this up at the library when I saw it. And I think that's something that a lot of kids probably could use a little bit of prep for, so that they know what to expect. It's also just a weird and interesting experience if you think about it in life. Like, the rituals we go through at airports are so strange to me. And so it's a great subject, I think, for a book. But the theme that made this book so fun is that it's called Bearplane, and of course they go to a bearport and they get salmon snacks and stuff. But these illustrations are so chock full of just cute little jokes, and the storytelling is good as well. Next up I have You Make the World, and this book fits into a genre of books that I kind of think of as these like inspirational best wishes, basically in book form. And so this theme of this book is conveyed really well through the illustrations and through writing that I think doesn't stray into the generic. And that's always one of the biggest downfalls of this type of genre of books, is sometimes they just end up being way too generic, like you feel like you've heard it a million times, or it's written by ChatGPT. And this one had a very authentic message, which is why I liked it so much. And so what is the message? It says, you make the world. The theme of the book is that you get to impact the world. You get to decide whether you're going to brighten someone's day, or how you are going to maybe stand up for something that's important to you. Or what else? What are the other examples? I'll just read you a page. I think that's probably the best way. When you say hello, you make the world sing. When you smile, you make the world shine. When you hug, you make the world love. When you see others, really see others for who they are, who they were, who they might become, you make the world grow. I think it's hard for me to summarize it because I think the author's already doing such a great job with his own words and illustrations to bring this idea to life. So I really appreciated that, this book, You Make the World. Next up is Storyboat, and this one is also dealing with a very difficult topic, which is refugees, which is people who basically don't have a home. And this book had a really surprising moment to me. It genuinely changed how I think about things. Basically, there's a page in here where it says, here is a cup, old and fine, warm as a hug. Every morning as things keep changing, we sit wherever we are and sip, 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 sippy, sip, sip, from this cup. And this cup is a home. I thought that was so remarkable, this idea that a home can just be maybe an object, or maybe the people who you bond with over that object. A home isn't necessarily you know, a roof or an enclosure or even a tent, because unfortunately some people don't have that in life. But it's something I think that we can all kind of learn from that. It's that this idea that home isn't a material thing really. It's just the people and the experiences that we choose to have, the communities we choose to develop. I thought that was such a beautiful idea, and maybe you had to go to this really kind of dark place, this world of refugees who don't have anywhere to necessarily call home, any physical enclosure to call home, in order to find that idea. So I thought it was remarkable bringing that idea out there. I found it very, very touching as an adult. And I also think it's a great message to pass on to kids too, that, you know, even if you don't have that traditional house, you can still have a home so long as you appreciate your family or the community that you have around you. And this book, by the way, is, I'd say, definitely very child-friendly, appropriate. It's got a nice lightness about how it deals with something that I think is serious. Storyboat, really amazing book, and got to congratulate the author on doing such a good job with it. Next up is Made for More, and this book also has a nice message to it, but it's a pretty simple message. It really is about this girl who is obviously Asian or Pacific Islander of descent, and you know, there's this idea in this culture, or in a lot of Asian cultures, that you want to have this light, perfect skin with no sunspots, etc. But this girl is saying, well, I was made for more. So I'll read you a page. Freckles pepper my face like shells adorning the shore. Don't let her skin get too dark. Keep her out of the sun. Don't let her get too many dots, they say. But I wasn't made for the shade. I was made for exploring little ocean lakes where cool water licks at my toes and the sun tickles my back. So really nice illustrations, really nice message. The illustrations are just stand out in this book, I think. So I recommend this one, even though it didn't make my top 3. Made for More, great book. Next up I have How to Wear a Sari. And this one reminded me of a 1940s or 1950s Goofy cartoon because it's sort of written in a sort of how-to tutorial type wording. So it's like, are you tired of being treated like a little kid? You're too small. That's too difficult. Aw, how cute. And the solution that's presented to her is, why don't you dress in a sari? Which is this elegant dress like this. And so it's a story about this little girl who figures out how to put on a sari. And it's got a cute ending that I don't want to spoil for you. But cute illustrations, and it feels like an old, like vintage Disney cartoon. I thought that was a fun format to bring into children's books. It's not a format that I see very often. Next up I have What Will Fat Cat Sit On? And this one is really minimal. It is probably written for a super junior audience, probably kids 1-year-old or 2-year-olds. It kind of reminded me of Dr. Seuss energy. You can see these very bold illustrations. It's cute. Cute illustrations, and it's basically this character, Fat Cat, deciding what animal to sit on. Next up is Millions of Maxes. And this book had an interesting idea. It's about this character who his parents often remind him is the one and only Max. And so his parents have this little sign above his bed that says one and only Max to just remind him there's no one like him. Then he goes to the park and he discovers there are a lot of Maxes. There's other boys and girls and even dogs named Max. I did think this book had a surprising lost opportunity. There was no page in the book in which the parents, maybe at the end of the story, point out that there may be other Maxes, but you are the one and only Max. There's no other Max just like you. I thought that was such an obvious page that was surely coming, but it didn't come in this book. And so I'm kind of curious, if you read it, what you think of the ending and what you think. Do you think it was a missed opportunity, or did they do something that was a little bit surprising and interesting and different? I'll leave it to you to decide, but cute illustrations, that's definitely something I'd have to compliment in this book. Now I have All That Grows. This one is at the bottom of my list, but I still want to compliment a number of things. Very pretty pastel illustrations. You kind of introduce your kid to gardening and kind of the wonder of plants and the beauty of plants. I obviously love plants, as you can probably see from my backgrounds. I thought the illustrations seemed a little bit dark and a little bit fuzzy for a child audience. Like, I can definitely appreciate them artistically, but from my understanding about what's best for kids to be able to process illustrations, it is better for them if they have clear outlines, very obvious emotions. So a little bit more of a cartoon style than this style. So I think that that's one potential deficit. There's also some pages in the book where I just thought, why did the artist do this? You know, why did the artist make this so dark? It's hard to read, actually, and it's probably especially hard for a kid to be able to see this. So it's one of those books that I think is almost an exercise for the illustrator artist to put something into format and then they sell it as a kid's book, but maybe it's not so much for kids. Maybe it's a little bit more for adults than you would think. Nonetheless, I appreciate diversity. So while this one wasn't my favorite, I appreciate that there are all different kinds of books out there on the shelf. That's one of the things I try to highlight in this series. So that is the conclusion of my book review. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you're inspired to read some of these books. I especially have to recommend those top 3. Check them out at your local library. I have Just What to Do, Pokko and the Drum, and While We Wait. Fantastic books. I hope you get to share them with your kids. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.